as a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, I love to share what I have been learning. And that's a lot of things. So for me, singing my song is easy because I have what's called secure attachment, my 1-year-old. And so I treat my body right. And that's because magic works through me. And my words, well, I choose not to filter them. But I do filter them in a certain way. Yes, according to the so-called exact rules that I know are in need, not the teenagers. When I say teenagers, I'm talking about all people who do not get their own mind and learn how to use it. Okay, so here's the deal about the mind. You can only see clearly when you know that your emotions and your thoughts are not irrefutable facts. Now, I learned that at the age of 8 years of age. And I met a lot of teenagers as I got to be teenager, and the adolescent brain is from 12 to 24. So what I've noticed is that we have a lot of people who don't use the information for mental health without a mantle. So while they have mantles, some of us are authentically saying, okay, let's talk about how, one, there's no demons, so stop demonizing any and or all mental health groups. Two, don't romanticize it either. Teenagers with little mantles where you bring us the script of whatever it is you think you have or not have. So, okay, this is the part. It's not a fad, is it? Well, for some people, but not for the ones of us who care. So here's where I care about sharing with you how to be yourself. That's what IHP has always been about, and I've consistently took the lead, which is why I got attachment trauma informed. Yeah. So here's where herald of change. You won't do any change if you're not consciousness. Now, I'm consciousness always, which is why I don't feel changed. The one part, let me see, that did quote unquote change, but that's part of my organic brain that developed. So really, Maria is the same. It's just Maria got wiser because I got to expand my consciousness. So see, that's why I am presence. I'm presence. Like the whole spirituality stuff. Okay, spirituality and sciences, they come together like this. It's called self and living a life of meaning beyond the solo self. I'm a mystic. I channel guidance. I download. My relationship with sciences comes following my relationship with spirituality. And I know that it's a relational field, so I can also make sense of when we tap into our entire collective, yes, the unconscious, 0-1, attached, panicky. A lot of people don't want to get home to themselves. They say, since the therapist said I'm doing a good job, there's a teenager for you. I'm just going to say humans are all fucked up, so I'm going to keep the gut wrench shit going on. That's not how they say. They just say, we're all fucked up. That's not how your emotions can be felt if you get healed, by the way, which is possible. Thank you, Sadhguru. If you are conscious that you are mortal, there is no time to do anything stupid. You have to stay on track. Well, what I've noticed is most people stay with that adolescent brain, 12 to 24, and they think that they are invincible, like the teenagers who are actually what I saw as a 11, 12, 13, 14. I said, you're all unreliable. And when I meet grown-ups who are adaptive children, maladaptive, they're still the same teenager. Their mood swings lead the way. So they will be one day nice, the next day not nice. They're not changing. In fact, they're a wheel of their first 8 years of life. Go tell them that they're living basically relationships that are push and pull. We talked about that. We'll talk about it some more. That's not love. Love is not anything that has and involves this emotional, physical pain in your safety behavior. Now, I know experts that are so honed in. This is the one focused. So you know about Maya land or land of Maya. That's in the spirituality community. So one new age isn't bullshit. Spirituality isn't bullshit. Mystics aren't bullshit, but we're okay with being woo-woo pseudoscience people because, again, I'm actually not trying to prove anything. I know how it is to be a human because I am one, and I learned all about it. And you know what I love about my brain is it assimilates because I'm listening to the grown-ups. That's what I call them as a child. I still have a child that lives with me. And here's why life is a mystery, na 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 na, right? Yeah, it's really beautiful when you take a leap of faith again and again and again, and until you watch and wait. No, I every day take a leap of faith. Every day I know I could die. I talked to Marcus Aurelius about this, and that's why my life, yeah, as a teenager, by the time I'm 14, you're all stupid. I'm not. I'm going to go places. Oh, places means I'm going to make a difference, and not in a way of I need a mantle for it. There's nobody saving anybody. That sounds egoic. Jesus taught me to be forgiving and love, very straightforward. God, to be humble, and I'm still learning to maintain that as I gain more knowledge to say, wow, people believe yoga brings demons out of you. Did you know that? Do you know that people believe Reiki is yucky energy and tarot? I was a teenager and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. The church is making up shit. I mean, I'm sorry. I believe in faith. I don't believe in the church that existed in medieval times. I'm a political science major. They're an organized institutions. Organized institutions can transform and change unless they have ignorant masses. Ignorant masses get told that yoga brings demons out of you versus no. Stephen Porges, thank you. Yoga is a portfolio of ventral vagus or vagal nervous system exercises. I find it hard to believe, Maria, that's our first 3 years of life. Yes, I find it hard to believe that I even need to hear that when there's an entire academic field, So while it's good to always question, very good. What I find hard to believe is that people don't know humanity is good. Oh, wait, I don't. I don't find it hard to believe because as a teenager, without any of this knowledge, I remember the refusal of the call, all these kids. I'm like, evil, nowhere to be seen. No, Maria, don't you see what people do to each other? Didn't you see the devil won? Don't you see God doesn't exist? Oh, yeah, I see. You don't know how to handle your limbic system. Your prefrontal cortex is not really communicating directly with the areas, thank you, Daniel Siegel, below it. So you're not learning to regulate these things because you don't know how to monitor and modify your own thoughts and emotions, which are not irrefutable facts. The fact that you don't like something, fact that the world isn't safe all over the place. Yes, we know that. Didn't nobody get taught that that's how it works? You won't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you get what you need. So some of us, we get lucky. So emotionally and mentally, I got told life won't be exactly in any way, shape, or form as you want it. And I know that very well on a lot of levels that I won't be ever talking about because you know what happens when people say, oh, she's smiling. She must be depressed. She's pretending. I've heard this a lot of times. That's another one. I'm like, wow. Okay, should I say something? No, I'm not going to say anything. So here's where, if you don't use your prefrontal cortex, there's reasons for it. And some have more serious reasons and they don't take it seriously. So the people who have adaptive child and maladaptive child behavior, if they take their self seriously, they'll find out why the self needs their support because they didn't get secure attachment. I did. I don't have a question, not even a one, of who Maria is. At my age of 3, correct my biological father. By the 3rd time he calls me my twin's name, my mother who wants to spank me, you can't do it. It's my body. She did. I went to make my suitcase. This is called a differentiated self. It's not a competition. I'm just letting y'all know. And remember, I have a twin, so I got lucky. I got lucky because I don't have this fear of inadequacy. And when I saw the teenagers with my twin, you know what happened? I had a little gang up teasing fest one of the times where my twin and other twins, yeah, I said, you're not funny. That's not funny. I don't like you. I don't play with people I don't like because you know what happens? I'm not disowning myself. Who's Maria's best friend? Well, not really, but yeah, I know how to make sure I'm not going to cry. And if you're going to have me cry, then you don't love me because having me cry means you don't care about our connection. So it's okay though. You're not evil. No. What you are is going to be just like any other person who doesn't have what's called compassion. Oh yes, childhood trauma brings unkindness out. By the way, so yes, how did Jesus tell me? Forgive, Maria. Very easy. So when you learn how to forgive again, adaptability, and you don't hang it over somebody's head. No, you just say, wow, that's life. I'm writing my own fate. Yes, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. You know what I learned about God is that you don't beg for something to fall from the sky. God gives you the opportunity always through each other. And so there's that one joke, the one where, there's a man, he's going to be dying off a cliff and he asks God, come save me. And there's a helicopter that comes and there's a boat that comes and I forget, there's a third and the guy falls and dies or drowns. He goes in heaven and God's like, what happened? The guy says to God, I called to you. I sent you all of that help. You didn't take it. So when people like to romanticize, as the lovely person who I want to mention, her name is Kylie Rakam. She's making a great difference. And one of her recent videos I was watching, mental illness is conditionally palatable. Go watch it. It's really good. So as she points out, people romanticize and then demonize. We don't do either here. We treat people like people. So if you have an adaptive child, maladaptive child behavior, we'll point it out. We won't point it out in a way of saying you're a piece of shit. No, we're going to point it out if we're in a relationship where there is a way that we can say, when you get your moods, we want to work on it. And then we get the good therapist because, see, if you have a specific way with emotions, meaning that you can't handle them, we were going to want them for consciousness barriers and memory barriers. I'm not afraid of people with DID and disorganized attachment. I learned all about it in my course. In fact, there's nothing fearful about what are they alters. And I know a person who knows of their alters. They also know how to handle their own emotions. And like my therapist taught me, no person that has DID wants to go to therapy because they are afraid, which is fair and square because there's a lot of not good therapists. They don't know how to say, you know what, you're not pathology, please. Your behavior, we can work with you. It's called with mindset. And with people like the IHP community who will welcome you. We won't romanticize it. We won't demonize you. We'll be there with you every step of the way because that's what it is when you have a clear inner world. Why? I have secure attachment. I don't have shame. I know how to balance my brain. Why? Because I know that my emotions and thoughts are not irrefutable facts. So when my body has emotions, I don't overwhelm. That's called I know how to be my own safe haven, secure base, which is where the solo polyamory community is at, by the way, because the world isn't safe. That doesn't mean humans are crap. Those are misanthropists. We don't like humans. We mistrust humans. Yeah, some of us love, I'm a human. You're disrespecting my humanity every day. I cannot even begin to tell you all how beautiful it is to use your prefrontal cortex. But you have to want to do thoughts and emotions and with mindset because the chit chatter is what's translating what comes up. And if you don't notice your own moods, well, you're not self-aware with the way of beyond the solo self. If you are, this says going to be, I don't want Maria to cry. I'm going to engage with her. I don't want whatever else to cry. I want to be a member of society. I want to share life. So it's when you care about your human relationships and society that you're going to do something about the adaptive, maladaptive child behavior. And with support, nobody demonizing you, nobody making you out to be a monster. The smart ones, because there's smart ones, and the ones like, again, Kylie Rakam, go follow her. She's making a great deal of good awareness, authentic, and she's a narcissist, and she's not evil, Knievel, medieval. And anybody who wants to stay ignorant, they can stay ignorant. They have plenty of mantles of mental health, mantles of yoga, mantles of spirituality. They're walking around like Elsa's journey. You can totally tell because there's small energy. I shared that with you in IHP. And you know that small energy, there's a part where I was able to give you a little view. So as a teenager, I knew what all those teenagers are doing. And that's when I made a conscious choice that I would never, yes, I said never. There's a whole story behind that one. That I would not and that I would never use my words in a way that would be spiteful in an effort to hurt somebody's feelings once they did the same to me, because that's what teenagers do. And I made a choice because of Jesus and God, and also because it doesn't feel good, and also because that would make me a hypocrite. Because if I ask you to treat me with kindness, and then I have the audacity to within myself do something on purpose with spite to intentionally, emotionally hurt you, well, then I'm bullshit. And that's with me, and that's what it means to stay pure consciousness, and not what you act, is how you feel, and this is what's going to tell you. So teenagers, I saw a bunch of them not make the choice to use their effective brains, and not because they had emotional abuse or neglect or physical abuse or neglect. No, a good portion of people, 50% of the clinical U.S. population has secure attachment. Means their first year of life didn't receive this shame thing. Now we have to see what happened after that, but again, it's secondary. The point is when your deeper subcortical areas come from our vertebrate evolution, thank you, Daniel Siegel, and you do want access to your prefrontal cortex, you're going to be monitoring and you're going to be modifying. You're going to regulate. So you're going to say, I want to regulate my behavior. And that's where if you don't like monitoring and modifying, Daniel gives me track and transform and sensing and shaping. Okay, so at this point, we're going to conclude with the frontal lobes. They finish to develop by the age of 25 for physically speaking women, 27 physically speaking, the biology of men. And the regulating capacity is based on how do you chit-chat in your brain. And so what I've noticed is not only do we have black and white thinking and split thinking and people who actively in structural dissociation, because I have plenty of friends, believe their emotions and thoughts are truths, my mystic 4D, yeah, they completely go off the rails because they have clairs and they think that that means they know the truth about everything. And long story short, no, they don't. You try telling them, they just say, you have more experience. And I say, well, no, sure. I have more experience knowing that you just allowed what is I like and don't like to take effect, which is the karma wheel, which is your 0, 1 to 8-year-old, which means you're not online. You're in your brainstem in a safety behavior, and that's why you're a teenager. That's why you don't know how to regulate your nervous system and get into what is this, which is a ventral vagal state, because I can be Maria and I'm not emotionally upset at anyone because I also don't have low self-esteem. I have self-confidence. I learned it as a teenager how I'd stand up and then open the heart, not close it, because that was another choice I made as I noticed all the unkindness and not evil one. No, I said that's a lame excuse. That's exactly what they taught us in church, is that people make excuses for why God doesn't exist. I know that God exists. I know that there's love, and I know that you have a choice. Like Jesus had a choice. We all have choices. So it's not hard to become a person who's self-aware enough to say, let me take my left and right mode. Okay, so no demonizing and no romanticizing about anything. Here we do personal development and self-help for people who want to do it seriously, to be themselves and their 1-year-old healthy, not where you're doing any of that re-traumatization. No, I know enough to know that if you still want that, you don't want to come here, because we don't do the middle ground. I do infinite higher human conscious potential experience. Then again, voices and stories right here, but I can thank every person who notices that a childhood trauma survivor, they will have been lied to. They will lie to themselves. I'm a piece of shit. They will continue to lie to themselves and not notice that they choose partners and or people who don't have the capacity to treat them effectively well. So it's only when you have room and space for you, or you say, you know what, I am worthy. I'm not a piece of shit. No one's a piece of shit. We're all people. Are we done with the movies? Anyone? So whenever I say teenager, remember, it's adaptive children who live the Pinocchio life with the ears and the tail. They just stay on the island. There's their Maya land. When I see experts that are in Maya land, I know that they're all for the Pinocchios. And we'll continue those conversations, because at the end of the day, we got human love narrative groups and human suffering love narrative groups. That's why they have the Zen master who says you got laundry in your body, or people who say polyamory. They overestimate the capacity for humans to use their brain. Or I find it hard to believe that what attachment and trauma researchers and neuroscientists and neurobiologists are finding out is true. And it's like, wow, if only. No, I learned that as a teenager too. I don't want to regurgitate a gazillion books. Go buy the books, go do the courses. I'm not here. I'm gone. You're Pinocchio with ears. I want real boys, real girls, real days, authenticity. It's called We Care About Humanity and Know That There's No Stories. It's 2024. Sciences, spirituality, come together. Come and join us. Have a great day. Like, share, and subscribe if you liked. And if you want to spread the word on let's love each other